Sweet. Just gonna double check my stream, make sure we're up and running. Chat is now loaded, so it should be up. Just wanna always double check this, so. Switching over. Says we're live. I think we're live. I believe we're live. What the hell am I streaming to? Oh. 1 second. I'm playing sound somewhere else in my house. What is it connecting to? Oh, I know what it's connecting to. Hold on. I'm not connected to that. Why is it streaming to that? Alright, anyway, I'll sort the music out later. How is everyone doing? Morning, mate. Yes, good. Locked around 2% in EA, running around 4%. What the hell? That's incredible. I know you took the short, didn't you? Wonderful, man. I was also looking at the short on EA, but I just got a bit sidetracked with it, so I left it. GA though, GA was nice, man. GA was good. It just, you know, it's not a regular price action for me where you had the 1, 2, 3, it sold off, tested the low, gave you that low test, pulled up aggressively, impulsively. I saw that risk entry 5 p.m. UK. I just decided to stay out. But it did commit, and then it gave an insurance entry. I woke up, saw the insurance entry, and I was like, you know what? If it comes back up and gives us a re-entry on the risk entry, I'll take it. Reduce risk, I'm going to leave it. And then it just sold off. So, you know, that was it for GA. EA, I did have a brief look at EA because I also did have it on watch. Well, on my watch list. But you know what? It's one of those ones. I'm not phased. Like, I was looking at this section here for the sell, which I'm assuming you kind of, you know, took it. Let me just double check. If you took it up here, that's pretty nice, man. But over here, it's the only entry I could see, and I would go tight. You would probably go tight. I would go pretty much 10 pips. So how you're running 4%, you probably just covered the high here, 7, 8 pips probably, and then you got 2% locked in around about here. If you went tighter than that, man, good for you. I mean, that's mad. But yeah, so that's it. I've got 2 trades, EA and GA, but I might get out of this now. I need to just kind of evaluate. The 4 hour closed quite nice, but we tapped into that low and responding. I'm gonna get out of this trade. 1 second. Oh man, I want to get out of it. It looks good. Let me just check the DXY quickly before I make a decision. The DXY is here, stalling in that area, so there is room for it to come down. Yeah, I'm just going to take the quick win, man, and call it. It is what it is on that. So that's closed. So I'll show you my EU trade, and then I'll post it up on Instagram as well in a second. But let's just put it here. So I had it here. Next candle, stop loss was actually borderline. It was hiding. It must have been hiding this because no, that was it. That was exactly the trade. You know what? It's nice. The 1 hour looks good. The 4 hour closed nice as well. But huge wick. It's not tapped into anything significant. Kind of just retested that. So there is a lot of room for it to go short. But I made a mistake this morning and I took a loss. And I took a loss on a pair which wasn't on my watch list. In fact, I made a mistake. I tried to hedge my position here because I thought I was going to be wrong. So And the hedge would have also made me money, which is funny. So I took this trade here, and then it was messing about. Like, let me just go to the 5 minute just so you can kind of get real time understanding. And it was messing about here. So then I went over and saw the US dollar related pairs, and I was like, oh, you know what? This could potentially be like the base, this, and then there's a trade there, and I basically had it all the way down here. I think I went in quite tight, and I was like, you know what, I'll play this as a hedge play. If Euro USD is going to come up, then so is NU, and NU is probably going to come back up to these areas. So maybe, if I'm looking at it on the 15, because it wasn't a 5 minute trade, I was like, it's subjective, but it's there. The trade is there. I'll take that. And then what happened was I had it with 5, so when it came down a little bit, I was like, oh, you know what, I'll just take the loss because EU started coming back down. And then I was like, you know what, let me just stay with my trade. Like, why did I deviate? And then I started having these, this moment where I was like, feeling some level of emotion where I was like, why did I take a trade that I didn't forecast? Why did I take a trade that wasn't entirely in my trading plan? Which is a funny situation, right? Because that completely made me feel like it was invalid. But the trade was, to me, the trade was valid. You know, I had protection. I was well protected in terms of what I was looking for and so forth. So I was happy with the trade. The trade wasn't an invalid trade in my eyes. Like, I was happy with, you know, the context of the makeup and everything. I just went super aggressive and kind of just made an impulsive decision. So then I had to kind of take the hit on my account with that. I mean, obviously it wasn't a lot. I'm trading with 0.25% risk, and it was half of that. So, you know, it's basically like 1.25, 12.5, 0, I don't know, 0.125%. So, you know, you borderline, it's not really much, but I felt a bit upset after that. So when I closed it, I took a small loss, and I was like, okay, I'll pay my dues now. I've done what I need to do. It is what it is. And then I was a bit upset with it. So yeah. There's also this trade that I've got running. I haven't actually posted this one yet, but I've got, it's basically kind of just playing it in this area where we kind of have these gaps here. It's come in, mechanically it's left a gap here, tapped in, filled it, and then it's hovering in that area. The only thing that I didn't like about what I did with this particular trade is if I just measure it up here for 50%, I'm kind of very borderline tight with the 50% mark. So right now I'm running in a little bit of drawdown on the trade, nothing major. It's here. My stop loss is kind of borderline below the 50%. So I'm just a little bit feeling like, did I rush into that? But what I did like about it, and the reason why I did take it here, and I wasn't really bothered about perfect confirmation, was it's already filled, it's broken this area. If it's going to go, it's going to create continuation, which it's kind of doing right now. So the odds are when it comes back up to this area, right, I will move to break even aggressively. But looking at it, I don't think it's, you know what, it does look like it's selling off hard with these big candles, but it can just turn around. If I invert it, it's a little bit more cleaner if you can see what I can see. So I'll just go to the 1 hour and you can see it more so here. So you see the gaps down here, and then you see how price is kind of coming back up to retest this area here. And then you had the sort of pin bar, and then we had this candle here. Obviously price is just trickling higher, but it's trickling higher very slow. So I'm just kind of thinking, is it only trickling higher to tap the 50% to then sell off? So we still prime positioning, and that's kind of what I'm really, really focused on. Okay, let me just read some of these comments. Yeah, so let's see how EA plays out as well. I think the better play though, if you're looking for Aussie 200 sell, you know, wait for it to kind of do whatever it needs to. And if you get the trade down here, that's your low risk. I mean, if I get tagged out, that's the trade I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that trade there. Probably get in with a little bit tighter stop loss as well, which is nice. I could probably get in with, call it around about 9, 10, call it 10 in this region, and I can play that to the downside. And then I still have like a 10 to 1 at least to this point here where it fills the gap, 6 to 1. Most likely it's going to fill it and go. So we're probably looking at this target zone here for about 11 to 1. So that's what I'm looking at really and truly. That's what I want to see. Euro USD, I've already got out of this now. I know that there's still room for this to sell off. There's a bigger move on the DXY to the upside. Everything is there. I'm just trying to cover myself right now because I feel like it was one bad decision that could lead on to another, and I had to compensate for that. And sometimes the compensation has to be, you know, getting out for good trade. So it is what it is. So that's this trade. I'm just taking a screenshot of this and put it into my trading journal. Anyway, plus 1% for the day. Let me just double check. Yeah, I'm up. I'm actually up on my account by 1%, so a 0.5%. So it's a win. It's a win. I'm up 0.5%. Obviously, I've got Aussie 200 running as well, which has 1% risk on it. Not overall account balance, but just 1% off of what I'm trading, so 0.25%. But I'm just going to say 1% all the time. So if I'm saying 1%, I mean 0.25%, right? Because that's my risk tolerance of what I'm trading with. Yeah, I genuinely think this is a good trade, man. I mean, this is a trade where you would want to be a little bit more patient with it. I'll be very honest with you. It's a trade that has a lot of potential, has a huge amount of potential. It's just, I'm a bit too, I would say I'm a bit too focused on a lot of things right now. So I wanted to just be a bit smart with what I'm doing. I'm just reading these comments, apologies. You took the first one, yep. Go to the pair for today is EJ123. Let's have a little look at EJ. I'll pull up the yen pairs, EJ. Yep, you wouldn't be wrong, but also at the same time, you have to kind of look out on the higher time frame. Let me just zoom out on the weekly. And, you know, kind of, I know it's a bit far of a stretch, but it looks like we're still coming up into these areas here. So market's going to try to accumulate more people to keep buying and keep selling, right? But there will be sort of sell-offs within this. So if I look at it here on the daily, I don't see no daily confirmation or sign. Look at after that daily candle, we potentially sold. After that daily candle, we sold a bit. After that daily candle, we sold a bit. So you do want to wait for the daily to kind of give you that signal. You don't want to try to get caught up right in there. I mean, you can, but it's tricky because, you know, you've really got to be sharp a lot of the time. But here you are supported by some level of a structure, and you have a middle section to it as well, which I do also kind of like this, which is nice. The angle of it is quite, you know, it's quite aggressively steep to the upside. There's a gap down here as well, so I think you looking for shorts is extremely smart. I think it's a very, very smart thing you could be doing right now, because longs are definitely all over the place, but how many people are going to be looking to go long for that weekly time frame? Whereas, you know, a candle comes up here, pushes down here, you get continuations, and you can just then ride that to the downside, and maybe it comes down here. So there could be a whole number of opportunities on this. It could be 1, 2, 3, or multiple ways, right? These ones I'm circling are not just one entries. There's multiple ways you can take it. Maybe in there as well. Obviously, the lower down it becomes less reliable when you're playing from like an A to B. I would look at that as the isolated part, and that the bonus. That would be the bonus if you got positioned in one of those sections there. I think you wait. It's my personal opinion. You wait for something to come to you so that you can take advantage. If you try to get involved right now, for whatever reason, and just try to catch some 1 hour pin bars or even a 4 hour candle here, you're just playing with the momentum to the upside. So you can get the most perfect candle shape here, but price can still just do this. So what you want to wait for is price to turn around and stall, accumulate. So what that basically indicates is, as this is now exhausting, it's showing that bigger players are now actually getting positioned on the short whilst people are buying this back up. And then what happens is when it pushes back down, the bigger players are now putting in their big orders. And what happens, it might get bought back up, and then they do it again, and then what happens is you get a failed continuation here, and then they've built the volume of the sales there, they've taken advantage of it, you've taken advantage of this, and then the sell begins. So this can form in many different ways. The best thing to do is just wait for the insurance entry. That's my best opinion. I think, yeah, I'm just gonna stick it at that. EJ123, audio is low. Oh, really? Man, I thought it was up. Let me just quickly check something. Gain, the volume. Is that much better? Is that getting louder? Is that getting louder now? No, louder, 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 louder. I'm gonna just leave it like this. I think this is the loudest I can have it without it echoing. Properties, and I'm always having something going on. Let me see about this. If I put advanced audio settings and I put the audio mic on there, that should be much better. What if I put 400%? If I double the volume of my voice right now, that should be loud enough where you kind of come to the decision to turn your mic back down now. So I do apologize if you had your mic on full blast. Give me a thumbs up if that sounds a lot better. And yeah, so let me read these comments. Hey Kunal, I just found the data collection video. It's the very first one you made, data collection 1. Oh, nice. Yeah, I think, is that the one where I was talking about Cadyen and stuff like that? If that's right. Yes, it's a good video, man. It's really good. I mean, I love that because basically, you know, you use the two colors where you have this. Let's say you had this price action like this, and then you're basically separating it in two sections. It's like, this is your price action leading up to it, and then this is your price action that you're taking advantage of. And then in your data collection, you're then basically analyzing this one, which you'd make this blue, for example. This would be blue, and that would be green. And then you'd basically analyze this for your entries, and then you'd analyze this to see how would I understand that this was coming. And then that would be the data collection that would basically start it off, and then you can go out and practice and build that reticular activating system. And I think those data collection videos are phenomenal, really. I actually learned that from, I believe it was Danielle Bromfield's brother, Alex Bromfield. If you guys remember, he once jumped on a webinar years ago now, 2 years ago at least, or a year ago. And he basically did something very similar. And then I just got so inspired and I created something that worked well for me. I mean, my data collection is very similar, but it's very different. That's the interesting thing about it. Let's see, Euro USD, is it still selling off? Yeah, man. Bang. Maybe I did get out too early, but hey ho, I'm not really bothered, man. At the end of the day, we gotta wait and see what happens with the DXY. If the DXY recovers, we're gonna get a lot of entries anyway. So we'll wait and see. But I did definitely jump the gun on that one. I'll shadow it though. I'll carry on shadowing. I definitely got out. I wanted to protect my account a little bit better, so ended up getting out here, but it's fine. Let's wait and see. What else have we got? We've got insurance entry. Waiting for insurance entry on Aussie 200. Absolutely. This would be a 10 out of 10 play. It might come in at a time of day that I'm not anticipating, but you know, even so, we are in prime territory right now where, you know, prices is in its sort of continuation phase. So if we can reject in this area and move to the upside, it's great. The one other thing I do like about this is if we look at the other indices, predominantly they're all bullish. So Aussie 200 usually is like with one of those which are like way ahead of the curve. Somebody said France 40 and I didn't, yeah, anyway, it's ahead of the curve, but you can see all of these are bullish. Aussie 200 is a bit slow right now. So I think Aussie 200 could be an impulsive pair where it just kind of just goes, and it goes with a lot of conviction. Wow, really? S&P 500 back at all-time highs? Oh yeah, because it's the Vanguard one. Yeah, it's back at all-time highs. Look at that, how incredible that was. I was saying that literally on Friday, and here we are, Wednesday, and we're back up here. Look at how much money you could make, guys. If you don't know already, You know, you can go back through loads of videos, but I spent the majority of last year and half of the year before just studying the S&P 500. And I promise you, man, like, you guys can make thousands, maybe in the hundreds of thousands, just on trading this particular pair really well. And how you do it is you wait for price to take these dips, and when it taps into these areas, you just take advantage of the impulsive behavior, but you don't treat it like how we normally trade a lot of instruments. You have to learn how to trade the S&P. Sometimes you never really get clear price action. I'll be honest with you, it's never like 10 out of 10 clear, but you get these like scoops in the market and these retests, and I'll show you what I mean. You just have to learn to read price action really well. Here's the scoop, it's come back in, it's retested, and there's your entry, right? And it's like, how would I know? Well, you just know from data, and then you'd basically take the trade one here, and then, you know, every trade has the potential of becoming a longer term hold, but you don't get too aggressive. Like, you're running 3%, you're not playing that move. When you're taking this, you're playing high, all-time high move. You're playing to get up here, right? That's a 6.6 background position. Now let's look at the next one, right? Then you've got, pull it down here. You've got essentially tapping into this section here, but you have to remember, where is it? It's not really anywhere significant. You've got the retest right there. Boom. You see that? We're still aiming up here with our 6.6 position in the background, and then you've got another trade there. You can just take it in right here, stop loss below. If you want to add a bit extra, you can, why not? And then to the top, you've got another background position with it, another 6.722 high, right? And then what do we do again? We break this one, we hover just above it. You can take it two ways. Me personally, when it comes to S&P, I'm not always going to wait for perfection. I can see it consolidating. I might then take something like this, put stop loss a bit below, because remember, I got them two background positions. I can go larger stop on this one, and then this one, you know, accumulates, comes up, and this was my background position for 3.52. Again, I've just got three positions which I positioned there. There was more, but with those three alone, and this is on the 15-minute, I'm just demonstrating it. You know, I'm still looking at taking over 10%, and this could be in a week. So again, I might do a separate week where I just trade the S&P 500 when it comes into these market conditions in the future. We take advantage of it, and maybe that'll be a good piece of a week content. Let me quickly see how these trades are doing. Yep. I did pull the trigger too early on that, didn't I? Just double check this. Definitely closed it. Yeah, I have. Yeah. Shame. Anyway, it wouldn't. It's currently running roughly around about 1.8, and I walked away with percent on it. I think maybe. Yeah. Now it's just what I've got to deal with, isn't it? It dropping off. We'll wait and see. What else have we got? Favorite pairs for you? Oh, wait, sorry, no, I missed some questions. My chart is on FXCM, it's different on Aussie 200. Yeah, I put Oanda because my my broker is Oanda on it. But yeah, same, nothing different really. We're still in that area. You know, the main thing is on the 4 hour, you're seeing it. If the 4 hour comes back up, and if the 4 hour closes above this candle, we're in a good place. That's what we're really waiting for. We would want to see a recovery on this candle, pushing us back up here. Anywhere remotely in that area, we're good for a risk entry on the 4 hour. It's a bit large stop, but it is what it is. Or you could take an insurance entry if it appears. And that's basically what I'd be looking for. Let's see, what else have we got? Favorite pairs for you? I think EU is the favorite pair. I like USD CAD, or let's say I did like it until it came all the way up here. I was looking at it there last night, and then I was like, nah, end of day, it's around about 5 o'clock, I'll leave it. And then it came back here in the morning, and then I was thinking about this trade. I don't know about any of you guys, but I was thinking about doing this, but do you know what? I didn't do my morning routines. And like, I literally woke up here, and I was like, okay, do my morning routines. And then during the morning routines, we had this little formation there. And I was like, okay, it's stalling. And then boom, it was all the way up here all of a sudden. And when it was there, it was way too early for me. And I kind of wasn't feeling to take a stop loss of 12 pips. I don't know why, even though that's the standard on this, it was just felt very large. And then coming up here was 1.5, and I was like, I'll be at break even. This has the potential to go for about 5 to 1. How long would it take? And it put me off. But really and truly, this is about a 7 to 8% trade right here. You know, this is a good trade. I just think I put myself off because I thought the stop loss was too large. But then you look at it on the 4 hour as well. 4 hour candle was good. I think I just maybe I was just looking at too many things in the morning. Didn't have enough time to do my forecast and stuff, and just wrote it off too soon. Aussie Swiss though, this is beautiful. I don't know if any of you caught Aussie Swiss, but check this out. Right, let me start top frame time. High time frame to low time frame. Right. So check this out, right? We've basically been moving up to this section here. Then we look at it on the 4 hour. We've tapped into essentially this point here. And then we sold off a bit corrective, okay? But price is coming to the downside for some reason. So we have to kind of understand where would it come to. Well, we've got this point, and then we've got like a bit of a gap there as well. So the likelihood is we're coming to the downside. Then I look at it on the 1 hour, and I'm like, okay, what do we have? Well, we had a strong momentum push, and then we started creating consolidation like this. And then I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then you look at it closer and you're like, wait, hang on a second. We have, if you draw it on here, that's your middle section. That's your confirmation candles. That's your 1, 2, 3. And then you basically got the squeeze. And then where's it coming from? It's coming from a strong impulse. Where's it going? It's coming to the downside. So then let me measure that up. And then I was like, okay, this trade is looking it wasn't on my watch list, bear in mind. This trade was looking really good. And then you measure it up and it's coming back down into those areas there. So I was like, oh man, that's a solid trade. And with discipline, I decided like, I'm not gonna take it because I didn't forecast it onto my watch list, this and that. So I just convinced myself not to take it. And then coincidentally, I went and did the exact thing I said I wasn't gonna do, and I took NU as a hedge. You know, how silly is that? This is AN. I was looking at AN for a short here. It was just basically coming into the retest. You had that little liquidity. I was like, well, you know what? If this comes back up here and then rejects, this could potentially be a really good trade. So I was kind of looking at it on that rejection there, and I was like, if it pushes a bit further, there's a good trade in here. So I was looking at AN, but again, another pair that isn't on my watch list, and it's not really the best trade in the world, so I'm not mad. It is what it is. Aussie yen, let's see. So favorite pairs for me, I don't think I have any favorites today. I think yeah, EU, man. EU was actually a favorite. I don't know why. I really kind of just wanted to close it. I think I just wanted to lock in something today, and I wanted to just make sure that I didn't make a mistake. But I think it's a bit silly. It's a bit silly. It bothers me. I'm going to just remove that because it was a silly mistake. I've just got to wait now. New York session, see what happens. Yeah, I haven't got any favorite pairs. AU looking good. Maybe a trade for tomorrow. AU might be trade for today. Look at where AU is daily. Right. We had a strong push up, but we still haven't really met with these lows. It's kind of moving sideways. There's no significant point. We came from a high, so we broke this, came up, sold back in, pushed down. V kind of came back up, tapped into liquidity. We haven't really tapped into these lows, and we left the gaps. And then when I go on the 4 hour, even though we had a push up, we're then stalling in this area. On the hourly, we wicked and filled this. Right, we broke above and then we pushed back in. So then when you look at it, really and truly, this could sell because it's retested the back end of that. It's kind of come in, but it's come in with a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, which looks like a long. But before we get the long, we might go short. So then you look at this now, we've got a solid push, even on the 1 hour, got a nice 1 hour push back in, which is good. And then 15-minute, 5-minute, you might see a continuation to go short. Now, how far it goes, I can't really determine, but we might see something in the signs of, you know, something like that. Yeah. Let me just quickly decide on this one. I might close it off and re-enter because I feel like I rushed into this trade. Even so, that leaves me at break even for the day, so it's a bit dead, to be honest. Leaves me at break even. Just quickly move that. Where is my trade? Yeah, I'm gonna wait on this one. I think again it was one that I was hoping that when we broke here we just pushed higher, but now that we're creating that base, it looks like we could create continuation to the downside. It's not something that I want to really play with. I was just hoping that at some point during this whole period we just pushed up. You know, this was looking like a small push, maybe consolidation to just push again, but we didn't get that, and now it's just looking like it's creating more volume here to sell, so don't want to be involved on that either. Just gonna mark it up here, move it here, minus 0.5. Sequence wise this week, so we have win, 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 loss, win, loss, loss, yet we're still up 4%. Beautiful. Is what it is. Screenshot in here. Yeah. I'm gonna wait and see what happens. This, to be honest, could be a trap as well. This could come back up and then develop into something and just continue. So that's one other reason why I'm kind of not bothered about EU as much, but EU can sell off as well equally if the DXY gets momentum and pushes higher. No gap. What percentage buffer do you leave your accounts when you withdraw? Okay, so personally, I don't care about leaving money in the account because to me, it's kind of more so like, what's the point? What if the prop firm goes bust? What if this and that? I try and milk the prop firm for every penny I can get. So really and truly, if I'm due if I'm on a different type of prop firm, for example, if I'm on one with a very tight drawdown, for example, they give me relative drawdown or some nonsense like that, then it would be a different situation, okay? But most of the time, you're getting 10% drawdown. What did I say last time? Remember, if you've got 10% drawdown, I'm not trading with 1% risk, otherwise I've got 10 trades. If I'm trading with 0.5, I've got 20 trades. Give or take. If I'm trading with 0.25, I've got 40 trades. Which one do you think I trade with? I trade with 0.25 a lot of the time, and I build the buffer and grow. So I can build a buffer. I don't have to leave a buffer in the account. I like to start every week fresh as well. So for example, this week I would start at 0. Next week I'll start at 0. Even though the account is growing, I'll start at 0. Even though right now I'm 22.3 or something percent up for the month, I see it as I'm only up 4% right now because it's a new week. I see it as week by week. I don't see it as I'm carrying on from here to go to here. Like I take it in incremental steps. If I've got to reach 10% goal, I see it as 1% at a time, right? That's 1%, that's 2%, that's 3%. And I take it step by step. I don't ever try go from 1 to 3 and then think like it's all one period. So if I'm at 1%, 2%, 3%, then I can go back to 1%, 3%, and I'm still in one period now. I always look at it separately, and I think that perspective helps me because then I can incrementally grow it. Remember as well, because I'm trading with moderately low risk, every 4% equates to 1%. right? Because I'm trading with 0.25. So something else you have to come to realization is my average winner is roughly around about 3-1. Sometimes less, don't get me wrong, sometimes it's less. My average winner is a 3-1. And because it's a 3-1, I just have to make 10 of those trades, give or take. 4-1, 4-1, but yeah, call it 13 or 14 of those trades, right? At this, with a 3-1, I reach my 10% goal. So I can do that within a month, right? Because then it's basically saying to me, because I wouldn't get into a trade if I couldn't get a 3-1 out of it. And a lot of the time, you know, it's up and down. Like, don't get me wrong, I've taken, let me just double check how many trades. This week I've struggled a little bit today and yesterday, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trades where really and truly the true trades I should have taken was 1, 2, 3, 4 trades and 4%. That's really and truly where it's at, and that's bad because I should be looking at an average of 3-1, but I've only got one trade on a 3-1, and then the rest of them are all either 1%, but then I've taken two 0.5%, 0.5% losses on it of my risk amount, and then I've taken a full risked loss as well. So it's one of those ones where it's up and down. But this one I should have left it. I should have really actually not been impulsive and just closed it when it got here and started pulling back. I should have just waited for it, but now I've got to wait for the next entry. Let me see the next question. USD CAD. Oops. Keep moving these pairs around. I was looking for something in here. I wanted to see something like that here, but we didn't get it. USD CAD, man, it's DXY dependent. It could come up here, truly. It could recover to the upside. And we might see DXY move slightly higher, and then this one comes up, creates a large. Yeah, large flag. I do like something like this. This comes up, makes its way up here, and then we sell. I like something like that. Is it possible? Maybe. I know what you're looking at though. You're looking at the tighter bit inside it. You're looking at the current bit here. I think it's nice, but then at the same time, you've got to really hope that this was one piece of its own. This gap is going to be enough for us to push lower now. And then this is one piece of its own. So then it goes like this, but then you look at it and it's like, why is it so corrective? So then it comes back down here and it's not the trade to just really sell off. It just recovers and then comes back up. And then it's just a bit irregular. So it makes more sense for this to recover higher, where this then does something like that. Continues. And I think that will be a great trade in itself. If you got that, buying that would be better than selling it here. If you got an insurance entry and it was kind of like this, and then you had that below, I think that's okay too. You could sell that to the downside, but how long it would go, I would be more aggressive with my management, especially into that low. That's the only thing with USD CAD. I took GA on the 15-minute sell limit in Asian session, but I closed for break even. Okay, so let me read that one. So I took GA 15-minute sell limit on an Asian session, but I closed for break even after the 1 hour close with the bullish candle that looked like a low test. I could see a gap being filled as the third touch potentially formed. You said 15-minute, but the 1 hour closed. Okay. I see. We're looking over here. Yeah, I mean, maybe you were too zoomed in because you were looking at it on the 15. So I assume it was this candle here in that region off. And then you got tagged in, and then it just didn't really move because you wanted to see it kind of commit, and then you got out for a break even, maybe even there. Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where it's like you have to be patient. There's no choice. There's no two ways about it. You have to be patient when you take a trade here, especially with GA. I mean, you got in at good time as well, Asian session. So moderately, if you did get in with a larger stop, you might have been a bit more loose with it. You'd want to mitigate against a lot. So I would have probably had my stop above that. Knowing spreads, yeah, you'd survive that. So maybe something around about 19 pips on this from that candle. Maybe if you got tagged in here, you'd probably go 20. And yeah, you'd be running borderline 4 or 5% with that sort of stop loss. So I think yeah, tank as a buffer. There's also a USD Swiss similar. Okay, let me just quickly go through these questions as well. I'm looking for buys, I'm looking for sells. What is this? Let me see what Aussie US dollar. Yeah. It's a tricky one, really, because it can go both ways, but the sells look better right now from pattern separation. If you isolate this and you kind of just trade this on its own now, you kind of want to go for sells. You don't want to go for a long. But if you look at it on the high time frame, it does look like we've had a push up to kind of go long, but that's not completed. It doesn't look complete in any way. So I'd understand why this would sell off temporarily into these areas before we look to go long. Similar to how I was looking at Aussie 200, but Aussie 200 is nowhere as nice as Aussie US dollar. Because Aussie US dollar is basically looking a lot more clean. USD Swiss, yeah, USD Swiss was stunning, really and truly. And it's funny because we've been literally just watching it every single day, but it's just been dropping. I think daily play on it as well was good. Yeah. That pin bar there, you play it, you'd be running borderline 1%, but still, maybe even with the 50% weak crop, you can get in there. Not bad for a trade like that. 3% already after 1, 2, 3, 4 days. And you'd be playing it for a lot more than what it is, 8%. So that as a background position, yeah, that's a good trade. I like that a lot. Hey man, let's do a midweek breakdown if possible. All pairs. You want to go for all the pairs? Let's see. We'll go through them in a minute. Your view on EG, EC. EG, I think it's a trickier one because it's kind of here to go long, but it could come short before it goes long. Looking at it on the weekly, it's very bullish. It's very bullish right now. There's no signs of a short just yet. And if the weekly closed remotely the same as the previous week, you'd still be above this, but then if we start selling over here, then yeah, you're in good territory for sales. This is where the sales get higher probability, but right now, if you're looking at it, you're in a bit of a range. So this is kind of feeling more like a consolidation. So I'm gonna probably say you've got two ways. You either wait for that to break above, comes back in, and then maybe sells its way back down and then goes long, and then you get something like that, which is not regular. If you sold from here and you got sales here, you could probably hold that into the low and then get the trade in there to then play into this section here and then potentially look to go long. So I'm not really a big fan of EG. I think there's much better pairs you can look at. GC, GBP CAD, yeah, there was GBP CAD, had this one on. I was looking at this, I was like, okay, well, if we're holding here, especially on the 4 hour, you can see it. You're holding there, and then price is basically just showing a bit of failure. You could have probably just been tagged in. I mean, I would have been tagged in, but I would have taken probably a break even, because I would have moved it to break even when we were down here, at least, or 1%, so I wouldn't have been in for the whole trade here. So GC is kind of one of those ones similar to GA. It kind of came to the low, came back up, took everyone out, and then sold off. What can you do? What can you do about that? Over here, looking for a trade now. it's a bit trickier, but you'd look for shorts most certainly until, you know, the shorts are really invalidated. But yeah, if the price came back up here and created continuation short, you'd probably look to go long. Right now, I would wait for a developed flag, something more so like this, and then take that and go short. You get involved in these areas, and then you go short, and I think that would be GC. But you can see it needs like maybe at least today to develop into tomorrow. Right, there are many benefits to low risk, yes. So if you have a goal, and let's say 10% for the week, if you reach that goal, you've set, do you continue trading or stop for the week? You continue. Okay, so there's a question. As a buffer, there's also, okay, yeah. So if you've got a goal in mind, and your goal is like, let's say percentage based, then that's something you have to set when you set the goal. So for example, like I don't have a set goal, because I know for me, when I'm up, like, I think it's borderline around about 8%, and I'm on fire, I'm gonna probably get to like 20% on that month, knowing me, right? But anywhere below, and this is just statistical wise because I've seen my data, anywhere between this period of 0, or let's say minus, anywhere between minus to plus 8%, give or take, within this period here, I'm very cautious and I'm trying to grow to this point. When I get to this point, the sky is the ceiling. I'm like going plus 20% months, plus 30%, you know, like look at me now, right? This month alone, it's 23%. As soon as I was above 8%, I was just flying, because there was a different level of confidence, but also I know that I've basically just achieved what I wanted to achieve for that month, basically, in however much period. So everything else is just is something where I don't have to be so aggressive with it. And I think it's that aggression that usually, you know, gets me out of some trades. So let me just quickly see EU, because I'm considering an EU long, which I know seems a bit mad, but I don't think DXY is actually recovering. That's what I'm just thinking about. If we're here, we're sitting on that section. What about GU? GU did have a sell-off and tapped into the value area low. GU could be the better play. I'm gonna go GU 4-hour play. What about this? Where's 50% of this? That's only because we're about 10 minutes to the end. We could come back and test this into New York session and go long, but I don't think that's the gameplay. I think we could go long from here. Genuinely, I think the long is a good play. Go back on these. Are you guys looking at trades right now? Yeah, Aussie US dollar is selling off a bit, but Aussie US dollar, New Zealand US dollar, I treat them differently. I'm not going to touch this one. GU for the long, and also a EU for the long as well. Insurance entry. EU, I would go insurance entry. Here's where it looked like it just tapped into a hook point. Still bearish. Yeah, I would wait, probably. It gives me something like that into New York session, and I can go long on that. GU is like my risk entry. Harder trade to take, but I'm tempted right now. Let me have a look. Let me see if this closes. What we said. I'll tell you what. I'm going to zoom out. Daily. Look at the daily on this. Lovely, right? Then you look at the 4-hour. You're consolidating right there for that. very good to call it here anyway. You know, I think calling the bottom on something like this could be tricky. I'm gonna put this up on my forecast now. Give me a second. It's not really the best time of day for me as well. Yeah, I'm gonna just add it into my forecast. 1 sec. I'm seeing this as a late London session play though, but into New York. I think we get the London session candle, and we get a New York session insurance entry, and it goes. So this fails. So, but GBP US dollar. Yeah, I can share the screen over so you can see what I'm typing. NJ would be the hedge, main pair on CJ. Give me a second. Give me a couple seconds. I'm just swapping over. I'm just putting some details in here. If you're wondering about what I'm actually seeing here, I'm seeing it as this is the potential for the override, but we have to wait and see. Give me a second. I'll play it aggressive on this, because if I'm wrong, then I can get re-entered and it becomes right. So it would essentially be this. All right, sweet. That's basically it. I'm looking at the long. I'm looking at it being, it is high risk, but you just evaluate this one time. Yeah, the risk entry is high risk. The insurance entry is lower high risk, but depends on where it's situated. It is essentially the first cleanest flag on the way up though. Yeah. Well, no, there was another flag. It's not my golden run, but I'm in. So yeah. So guys, let me just swap that screen back. There you go. So that's the trade. I've inverted it on here so you can see it. But that's the trade I did. We're about to close an hourly as well. So depending on how the hourly closes, this would be the override trade. New York session is basically a few hours away. So in order for us to be New York session sell, it would have to be up here. So you just have to see next candle, next candle, next candle comes up here. At that point there, we are neutral, because we are borderline testing the 50% in that region. So it doesn't technically need to come there. It's not necessary, but it's a possibility. In terms of mitigation of stop loss, to right now I've got about a, call it about a 4 to 1 roughly to the low there. If I put this up here, I'm turning a 4 to 1 into maybe a 1.7. But I'll probably have to add a bit more to that. So I'll probably go about 42. It then turns into like a 1.5% trade. It's better I kind of take the trade as a risk entry here, and then just understand that if we did push up higher, it is what it is. But in terms of what it was, I think that's good. We'll just quickly put the notes on my forecast 1 sec. And management wise, I would be a bit more semi-aggressive, but more neutral on it. I wouldn't choke it. There is the aspect though where you might be wondering, if I zoom in, what if this turns into a continuation? And I think that's not an invalid thought process. You know, if this turns into something like this, and then it starts responding like that, most likelihood is it will come down, it will come back up, and then it could even do that to then do this. And then we kind of got a clear message from the market. Looking at the DXY, let's see. Yeah, I mean, you know, if I'm looking at this closely, it does look like it's showing a good sign right now for sell. I mean, for buy. So you do want to be a bit more careful. EU was solid, but I'm happy I'm not in that. Oh, you even got the insurance entry. Yeah, I mean, look, even with EU in the same place, it's kind of in the area where the buy looks good. Buy here for an insurance entry there. I like that. Let's see. Anyway, GU's here. I'm going to wait and see how this shapes up. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm going to be too concerned. I'm happy with that type of trade. Let me just write this up. 1 second. Sweet, so I've just marked that up. Right, let me read some of these questions. So, next question is, hold on, GBP USD. DXY looked like it just taps into a hook point and still bearish until it breaks. Let me have a look. DXY. Oh shit, what did I just do? That's crazy. Do this one. No, it wasn't. What the hell? Ah, move scale. Interesting. Didn't know I could do that. Right. Yeah, so DXY, if DXY does respond to this low, because it's tested it a few times and now it is kind of responding to it with some momentum to the upside, it could just recover back up and fill those gaps. And then we look at the weekly and we're like, you know, after that weekly candle, we did want to see a bit more for follow through. We didn't get it. Then we got a clear message that we are moving higher, which I don't think is entirely the worst thing. I just think that they have to be ready to pivot. Looking at it on the 4 hour, we did retrace at the low. So you can see we broke the low, we retraced back in, and then we got some candles pushing higher. Look at it on the 1 hour. 1 hour, we did actually have the first flag, borderline 2 first flags. So we've had this where we basically had some sort of really horrible angled flag, but it was there. And then we kind of continued higher, and then you had this little piece of price action which gapped. It's definitely moving somewhere. It didn't respond to this. It didn't respond to that. It had more than enough opportunity to continue lower, so it's not moving lower at this point. So then that makes me think, if this is going to continue moving to the upside, EU is going to continue moving to the downside, GU is going to continue moving to the downside. So it might not be the best idea to to go against that just yet, because this could develop into a short. New York session sell, boom, and then it continues. That's possible. That means that we would have to see something develop in here as well. So this could be the start of a flag continue forming, where then it does this, comes down, comes back up, does correction, and then New York session, it's kind of maybe even messed about a bit. It's kind of sell like that, which is possible to get something a bit more messy and corrective. NU wasn't bad. I mean, I'm going to take that off anyway. AU, yeah, this goes in line with our AU sell anyway. It just continues getting a bit corrective in this section here. Eventually sells. Then we see a recovery play on these pairs whilst that does its thing. What about here? We've got this low here. Got a low there. We could come back up for a retest. It could be a sharp pullback to retest this. I don't think that's the gameplay. I think DXY recovery, this then starts to make its way higher. And we just don't make it to anything significant. Possible. That's very possible that there's a recovery in play. Yep, USD CAD gets corrective whilst it recovers. So, you know, DXY can be aggressive, but this can just be corrective. And then it eventually comes there. Or maybe just continues higher, we don't know. Because technically you've tapped into this. You've tapped into this, you've hovered in this section, you've accumulated with a correction to the downside, and then you've just failed and you've continued and moved back higher. And then you go to the daily, it moves higher. Yeah, so I think DXY long, wow, yeah, there was no continuation there. Yeah, you can see that phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, DXY. I can't see much reason for it to turn around, truthfully. Can you guys see any reason why this would turn around on us? Because I'm finding it a bit difficult. If I zoom in to see some small consolidations, I don't think that's enough. That little hook point hasn't even tapped into it, to be fair. But saying that, just see this, you know, there's only one ray line, but I'm not a big trend line fan on this, where you've basically got this, and then you really got to hope that it's respecting that, but that's not really enough for me at this point, truthfully. I think 4 hour, have a look here, 4 hours looking good. Hold on, give me 1 second, I want to just check something on my phone. Yeah, well, so I'm just double checking this, and I think a sell could be probable. It's difficult, but I'm just thinking about GU's long-term positioning. And to be fair, this whole thing trying to confuse us right now would work so well with getting people to get trapped into looking for short term, because we need people to think about getting on the wrong side of the market for this to continue. So this could sell off a bit, but then it would go long. But really and truly, we would want to see a recovery play, at least 50% of the candle above it. This one. So when I measure this up, I'll go down to the daily, or the 4 hour at least. Yeah, man, I'm all for that long. I'm going to stick with the original idea. I think either it does come back into this area here and goes long, or we just kind of take it from where we are It's tricky. It is a trickier one to pay attention to. I'm more in favor of GU because I think EU has potential for sure and probably will equally move a lot. I think GU at some point will move with a lot more momentum in this run to the upside than EU. This is the weekly. If I just measure this up, so if I measure from the ray line low to the top, yeah, that's about 642 pips. And if I measure from where we are to the top, it's about 348 pips. So that at some point GU will be the clue that we will be going. Yeah, so I'm good. I'm happy with this. I think this could be good. It looks like it's still creating something here. So until that's invalidated, there's no trade to really go, unless you wanted to be a bit like me and take it as a risk entry and be super aggressive. Then yeah, you could take a risk entry here. You just have to survive a lot of the craziness that could happen. Inverting this. Yeah, you do have that little hook point there, which I don't see why price wouldn't come in and tap that. EG, maybe Euro USD could be a better buy. There's nothing really above it. I don't see why Euro USD couldn't commit. Yeah, look at Euro USD. Let me just pop on Euro USD and slice that up, because I kind of like this, but then yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Euro USD is banging. Yeah, I think we're good. So I've got that ready. And let's have a little look at this. So I just want to analyze this a bit closer and see, in terms of, obviously I'm looking at buys, I'm not looking at sells right now. I've pretty much flipped it, yeah. We can see we've tapped into this where it's essentially retesting, but you're looking at on high time frame. Dailies are really aggressive to the upside right now. 4 hours over here, retesting, nothing significant, but that was the origin of that push up. The next point is all the way down here, which is basically, if this fails, then that's where the DXY and the GU will probably be going down to those areas. If it goes down to that area, we're coming down to these areas. So we might potentially see it move to that section there. I think it requires a bit more patience. Anyway, yeah, let's just wait and see how that shapes up. We'll have to wait and see. The 1 hour closed. Here, but you can see the next candle's pulling down a bit. The 4 hours still there. I can still continue bearish. NU sitting on that area. AU kind of still developing that continuation we were talking about, scooping. I don't think I would personally be taking any trade on AU just yet. USD CAD. That's the one we were talking about before. Yeah, I would leave USD CAD. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's not an invalid trade. It's not the worst trade in the world, but this looks like it's probably coming back up. So I feel like that could be a trap. And then if this does go higher, then we would see GU and EU carry on going lower. So yeah, so it's one of those ones where they all kind of entwine together. Aussie 200 still down there. Yeah. Still feels like a bit of accumulation for something, maybe a sell from New York or maybe a recovery, but it's a little bit too soon to tell. Oh gosh, I really do like Aussie CAD as well. Aussie CAD is a nice instrument. You can see it mechanically. There was tested low, broke above, continuation, large buy after breaking that, push up. It's good. USD CAD, GBP US dollar. It's not, do you know what? This is the response. Like, you would want to see that suddenly we've tapped in here and then we start getting buying pressure, but you're not getting that sort of buying continuation that we're looking for just yet. And you can see here when price tapped into this, it just suddenly bought, the next candle bought, and it just continued going. That's the sort of response I would want to be seeing from this area here, but I'm not seeing it. So yeah, arguably with GA, it's in the big selling territory. All right, let's check out some of these questions. So we've got CJ, Kajen. Yeah, I mean, look where it is. It's hovering there. So there's the possibility. Then you've got the idea of this being a 1, 2, 3, which I'm not really for this entirely. I think this is more of a trap for it to go higher. I think you're probably just going to see this sort of move its way to the upside. A nice trade there though to go long. I think, when was that? It was yesterday. That was a good trade. Yeah, good trade for it to go long. I wouldn't be looking for the short just yet. If I was going to get short, I would wait for price to turn around and then, you know, give me something like that, and then I would go short. And then if that's not the one, then I know, okay, fine, you know, I get long, and then I'll get involved long, and then play it into that area, and then look for shorts again later. So CJ for long, NJ, same, pretty much same situation. This one's slightly arguably better because there's less of a reason for it to sell. There's more of a reason for it to buy. It's, if it breaks above here, creates continuation on at least hourly, you'd go long. So you'd look for continuation in this area to go long, and that basically be that. Let me see BTC. Yeah, BTC is still doing that, so probably more sales to come. Gold is looking like it could come back down one more time, and then we could go long, maybe tap into something down here. But yeah, a gold long looks good. A gold long looks really good if we can come back down one more time. Probably nothing on silver though, nothing yet. Silver might develop, so it might just turn around at some point and then start developing. So I would wait for, you know, maybe a sell-off, comes back up, does this, and then, you know, it does something like that, which, don't get me wrong, I don't think that's going to be the highest probability trade setup because of the nature of how it's moving. If gold is going to do this, then silver might probably, if we're right, it kind of just does something like this, comes into this area here, and then it goes and continues higher. And I think that's a lot more probable as a trade scenario than whatever we're going to be looking at. So gold completes on a structure, silver comes down as a sort of retest into that area. Almost got a trade on this. Oh, that's interesting. This looks arguably a lot nicer. In terms of a move, it's retested 15-minute. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan right now because there's nothing significant and this sequence is slightly off.
See that wheat trade we were looking at. Okay, so wheat is just consolidating. Definitely not the price action I want to be getting involved in. Corn. No, corn would have been at a loss if we. Oh no, would have been a break even. Probably there, break even. Interesting. 1.7, maybe a profit. I don't know. Coal is still going. Natural gas, so yeah. Let's see. US 100. Aussie 200 looks good. Still. DAX. Nothing on DAX, but I think there was something in there. Yeah, if you look at it on hourly, not the best trade in the world. UK 100. HK 50. See currency pairs. Go for it. Yeah, beautiful trade here, man. That one there, so nice. Good trade there. Aussie New Zealand. Yeah, that would still be developing. Aussie yen. Nothing there. Aussie US dollar. I think Aussie US dollar is. It's tricky. DXY's recovering though, so why not? If that continues to recover, that could just sell off. So I don't see it being a terrible trade. What am I thinking about? Yeah. So CAD Swiss. I don't think I'll take a CAD Swiss trade for sure. Looking at this, tapping in here. Yeah, it's a trickier one because you're asking for trouble in these areas as well. Euro Aussie. Yeah. Let's have a look at those Euro pairs. Are they ready? No. So we didn't get the response. Man, I sized it up. I was ready to go. All right, sweet. So we had EU. EU failed. So that would have been sucks. GU. Yeah. Borderline. GU's still kind of staying alive, but it's in that continuation phase, so be extra careful with that. And then A200, AU200. Where are we? We're falling at 11.15. It's still early days. We could drop off, to be fair. We could drop off by New York session. That could be a heavy drop. Let's see. We could recover. Could recover from here. Or we can sell. Let me check out my favorite indicator. Yeah, it does look like we could probably recover to the upside and pull back during New York session and then just continue. And I think that's also a possibility that we might actually recover to the upside, and then during that recovery, New York session opens and we sell off a bit. So it will look something like this, where we see this come up here, and then New York session opens and it sells, and then it continues. And then you get something a bit more crazy like that. That's a possibility that I wouldn't write off. As long as your stops are below that low, I think you're in a better place than most. EU though, EU looks a bit more challenging. EU looks like it could be a challenging pair, because I'll go down to the 5. Yeah, you got a little hook point there as well. But that hook, let me just invert this and look at it again. Okay, yeah, no, that's really not much. I think stay on the 1 hour. Yeah. We'd have to wait and see if price responds from here or here. The likelihood is New York session where we're up here and we get a sell. That's the likelihood. The possible scenario is we sell from where we are, then we get an insurance entry at New York session. So either way we can wait. You know, if you sell from here, New York session, you're here and you sell again, it's not so bad. Worst case scenario, this pushes up, comes here, and then sells tomorrow. Same situation here. New York session, you're either up here and you sell, or we sell from here and then we get a trade into New York and we go. Because we need to kind of time this well. AU didn't come through. I was hoping, but if we get the 4-hour candle and we're down here, that changes everything. That's, for me, that's the wrong way around. If I invert that, and if I buy this, and let's say I did buy it from up here, I can still get away with 25 pips. I'll invert that, it looks nicer. And then you take a trade like this, you can play it to the downside. And that's still a decent trade. It's still a semi-decent trade. I'm more in favor of the DXY pairs. I don't know about you guys, but I really do think there's a good play coming on these DXY pairs. Let me have a look. One and a half. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Honestly, it's a tricky one. I'm preferring these over Aussie 200 right now, because Aussie 200 is borderline failing to continue, but it is creating some sort of ugly continuations. So I don't want to get stuck into something there. This, on the other hand, it's inverted. Looks good. That looks good. That looks like a good sign for a response at this area. And so does that indecision, but the indecision isn't enough by itself. If I go down to an insurance entry, that looks great. That looks good. I mean, it's not enough as well, but if we break down here and get something else, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'll take this off now because that's already been used. It's a pretty nice run that we would get, and that the reason why I like it is people would have seen this sell off now, so they're kind of more on the side of sells. When price does something differently and turns around, and people are too busy caught on the wrong side of the market, and then the price just goes with the higher time frame direction. And I love the psychology of that. I love the fact that there could be something so small and intricate in the market that we kind of know it's there, but we neglect it because the bias of what's being shown, so that we're deceived by the illusion of the sell because of the momentum that it's showing. But then they miss the fact of the matter is that price is actually completing on something else, and you miss the small intricacies. Like, yeah, I love that. I love it. It's actually such a hard thing to explain right now, because you know, it's easier to explain when something like that plays out, but when it hasn't played out, it's hard to understand. But here's an intricacy. Basically, this is inverted. If I leave it like this, maybe some of you can see it, but price came down. If I go on the 1 hour, for example, you can just see it selling, right? So that looks like, okay, we're responding to this area now, we're selling, everyone go EU short. So everyone's selling, selling, selling. They see these big candles and they're like, okay, sell. And don't get me wrong, the sell is still good, but the sell is only good until the sell isn't. And it's like, where would the sell not become good? And then if I just invert it, because it's easier for me to explain, even though we bought, we left the gap here, we sold off, we retested this low, we came back up, tapped into here. It's kind of done its first target. So like the sell is no longer as valuable as it was when it was in these areas. And now that it's here, it's kind of like, well, look at the higher time frame now. We've been moving, and then we pulled back. From here, we pulled back. So this is a recovery, it's coming back up here, and we would recover. But if we're not recovering, we're probably pulling back to retest this, which we've done now, or we're basically responding to this, where we had the sharp sell-off, we're just coming back, and then we're selling off again. But people are on the wrong side of the market, so the psychology is really good. It's catching people on the wrong side of the market. And it will continue to do it. That's the one thing as well, it will continue to do it. So, like I said with the New York session, what will happen is, let's say that price does respond here and does that. Some people will get tagged out, and then New York session will come and it will do this, and then it will do that. And then people are in that oh no situation, like, oh no, oh no. And then you look at the dominant time frame, I'll zoom out to the 4. Where was it? You know, Gonji, where was it on the daily, on the weekly? It was always doing what it was always doing. It was just people got too involved with themselves in these areas. So they started getting, when I say too involved with themselves, they got too involved on the lower time frame. They missed the bigger time frame, and then they go back, and then when price is like, for example, if we use this bit of price action here, when price has done that, and it's kind of come back in here, and you had an entry there, in the moment it was looking like it was going to continue moving higher, so you did something and made a loss, and then what happens is price is all the way down here, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you know, and then the same thing happens again, and then the same thing happens again. So I'm thinking what we see, and I'm just going to replicate this section, this section, this section, maybe even this section here, is actually happening right here. That's why I like this trade, because historically it feels like it's repeating itself again. To get in very tight and within here is not always the easiest as well. I think that's one of the trickiest parts about trading, is you can understand the higher time frame there, but to then kind of refine this and then get in and then try and get the best entry and stop loss protection and stuff, that's where it kind of gets a lot more difficult. How can I become better at using the higher time frame like you? I think you've answered your own question, weirdly enough. How can you get better at using the higher time frame? Well, it's the same way as you want to get better at anything, just use it more. That's the truth. Like always, maybe implement into your process of when you approach any chart, you always go down. So you see top left where my mouse is over here. You go down this way. So I'm always going to start weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, right? But then the thing is, you need to be seeing something somewhat specific on the weekly in order for you to go to the daily, then to the 4, then to the 1. So it's kind of like you're basically looking for confirmation on each time frame for you to then enter the next one. But more importantly, don't overcomplicate it, right? So you're not always going to find perfection on the weekly. For example, you know, let's say you're looking for a trade here, right, in this area, you know, but the weekly area was all the way up there. So that's all you need to kind of confirm. Is the weekly on my side for shorts? Yes, because weekly has tapped into this area, did that. So that's it. That's all I needed to know from the weekly. Then I can go to the daily. Then I can apply the same methodology. The same thing you do with the lower time frames, you need to start applying to the higher time frames. That's probably the best way I can put it. But I don't know how good your ability is. So I don't know if there's any gaps in what you are using your time frames for. But the right idea here is that you don't overcomplicate it. If you start making it more complicated than it is, you will struggle. Great, I'm so happy I got out of that trade. Let's see NU, because I got out of NU. I wonder if I made a good decision on that too. Yeah, I suppose I could have taken a break even and not 0.5% loss on it, but or profit. Anyway, AU 200, goodbye, my friend. Goodbye. Let's see, S&P 500. So yeah, if you want to get good on the high time frames, study the high time frames too, man. Like when I say study, I mean look at this. If I zoom out, and it's easier because there's less noise to say. And I just mark on areas like that's my retest, that's my 1, 2, 3, that's my retest there. There's a gap. I've got the low here. There's a gap here. And then, you know, I see like what did price respond to? Price broke above, tapped into that little hook point there. It then created a 1, 2, 3. It then pushed away, created continuation below, and then we sold, and then we had another continuation. This was corrective. We've tapped into this area over here. Then we pushed away. Like it's like I can tell the future. That's what it can feel like. But again, when you read the higher time frame, you can get positioned a lot better on the lower time frame. And the reason why the high time frame skill is better is because, let's say, for example, and this comes not all the time, but it does come from time to time, we tap into these high value areas, right? And let's say price, you know, broke above, but then price came back in. Where are we selling to? We're selling to the downside. So I can take advantage of all of that. Right, and because I know that at that point there, I can then get positioned with high probability trades that work with the weekly time frame, but I can wait for daily structures. I can wait for 4-hour structures once everything has been completed and it's ready to move into the impulsive phase. Because remember, this is one impulsive phase on the completion of that structure, but then we do the same thing with everything else, right? Look at this. You've got a structure, impulsive phase, structure, impulsive. Okay, sharper pullback, but then structure. You know, we're moving in these phases, right? And we're doing the same thing over and over again. So all you're doing is you're replicating that thought process. And the nice thing is within it, you might have your structure, and then you have a small consolidation. You have your structure, small consolidation, and you have these intricacies where you can get involved in many different ways. And each instrument is slightly different. So there's loads of different edges you can build on different pairs and take advantage of different sequences. And then I think that's what makes trading a little bit more fun as well, because it's never the same shit, different day situation. It's kind of like there's something intricately different today. So I have to be a little bit smarter today with what I'm doing. And for example, like, you know, how can I give this as an example? You have to kind of say, well, there was a period, I remember like in 2021, there was a period with a lot of Aussie pairs, especially Aussie US dollar. It used to do this. Right? And then it would sell off. So you'd get your first touch, your second touch, your first bottom, your second bottom, small consolidation that meets 50%. And then it sells off. And I missed every single trade on the run. And I was like, how do I keep missing this? And I kept seeing the same thing over and over again until we were so far in the run that there was no point taking advantage of that anymore because it was already done. But with the skill set, I'm able to recognize this a lot quicker and I'm able to take advantage of it a lot better. Whereas there's a time in your journey where you're only going to pick these things up. You're only going to pick these things up when they're too late, when they've already played out significantly. If I can show you, actually, that would be phenomenal, right? I don't know if it's even going to allow me to bring up the data. I'm going to 1 hour. And if I zoom out, we are in 2025. Oh gosh, 2021 feels like so far away on this. Okay, it's over here. 2021, corrective phase. I would say it was more so from around about this period. It was somewhere in here. But you know what? This is going to be very educational. But let me just read these questions. Never saw the H&S on EA. Have it on watch. Missed trade at my end. I'm going to check that. Head and shoulders on that. JPP225 on watch. I'm going to check those two in a second. So let's just say we've got this trade here, and then I'm going to try and replay it. Continue. Oh my god, what happened? Bar replay isn't available. And then it just bugged out. Okay. Anyway, let's just assume that you know what I'm talking about. JP225. JP225. Ooh, okay. I'm already liking this, but you know what? We haven't tapped this area here, which I know you're probably already aware of, because but we tapped this and then we pushed away on the 4 hour as well, which is nice. So we had that strong push up. I like that candle formation. That would have been a nice little tester trade as well. But 4 hour push away, and then we're down here, 1 hour. Oh gosh, yeah, there was this sort of trade section here. I mean, you see it, that candle there. Probably go a bit larger stops, unfortunately. 27, 4 hour. I mean, I think you would have to. You could take the 4 hour and crop it, and then if it does come back up, you get repositioned. But I would have liked to go about 30 pips on that, and I'd be in it. So risk reward wise, it'd have to really sell off for me to make money, and with that gap above it, it would make me feel comfortable holding a long term position. So I'd want to get involved in some sort of tight position into this. So let's see. Oh, okay. Forget tight consolidation here. I see why you have it on watch. I see what you see. And then I assume waiting patiently. See, even if we did something like that, price did that, and then we actually got something more. I don't think it would even come to that one. I think we might even play before it, but we might even come back up, push a bit higher. I think it's more possible you might get the internal one here. And it does something like that. It can go both ways. What I want Jens to finish their move and then look to play it. Yeah, I like this though, because I would want to see some gaps and stuff in it. But a trade like that, 100% come for that as well. Do you know what I hate about JP225? Are you trading it on the FFX fund? It's just the swaps. The swaps are horrible. The swaps can be very expensive. So definitely wouldn't be taking it on. Yeah, I mean the swaps, man. I remember I got into like a 5% position. I was in the trade for 2 days, and like half of my position was paid in swaps. That's how mad the swaps were. So yeah, but a nice little trade into that low. Yeah, nice little trade into that low and maybe further. So probably you could manage for about 2 to 1. That could come maybe New York session on that Tuesday next week. What? I'm forecasting into next week. Where are we? We're Wednesday. No, Tuesday. That's today. Oh yeah. Wait, what? Hey, something is going wrong with this. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, guys? The date on JP225 is showing 17th of December today. Is it, am I living in the past? Because I'm in November the 12th. What is going on? What the hell? 17th of December we are. Can you guys see that? It's at the bottom. It's right at the bottom here. Bottom of the screen it's showing. The hell is this? What the fuck? There it goes, man. Yeah, something's happening. I think the future's communicating with me. Maybe I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and price action will be all the way up here. And then I'll take like 20 prop firm accounts and just sell everything from here. Imagine that. Imagine you woke up yesterday. Would you remember price action? That would be crazy. If you woke up yesterday, how much would you try and rinse the market? And what would you rinse the market on? Man, if I woke up yesterday. Is this inverted? Please tell me I inverted this. Yes, it is inverted. What? Oh, I'm using bar replay, man. That's what it is. Nobody even noticed that bar replay was open. Flipping out. It was the 17th of December, 2021. And the worst part is, Act didn't even say, he didn't even mention, oh yeah, he did. He said your chart is not updated. But he didn't tell me that bar replay. Oh my gosh. And I was so confused. It can go both ways. I want to finish the move. FTMO crazy swaps, man. Yeah, I haven't taken on FTMO for a long time, so I'm not sure. But I once passed the Falcon Fund with a JP225 trade. So that's a pretty fun fact. But I paid a lot in swaps, so it was a bit crazy. And I think I had to make more. I had to make more percentage because they messaged me, and Ibrahim Raja was like, "Kunal, you're gonna have to make like an extra few percent." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "I don't know. It's coming up with some errors, and the commissions were like really high in the back end, but it wasn't showing it on my platform. So like even though I hit profit target, I had to go and make like an extra percent or something." And you know, sometimes it can be a bit emotional. It's like you've hit your target, and then it's like you're all excited. You're gonna get your capital, and then they tell you no, you've got to make more percentage now. And then I was sitting there scratching my head like, oh my god, am I gonna FOMO into a position? What if the next trader takes a loss? Luckily, I stuck with low risk, and I traded with like 0.15% risk. And then I just stacked it. And I did it in like 2 days with 0.1% risk. So it was pretty phenomenal actually. I made 10% in 2 days with 0.1% risk. I did it in the most non-strategical way. Like I went in like on a 15-minute, 5-minute, and I was like, all right, sweet. I'm gonna scout this. I'm gonna get this. I already have my assessment, it's mine. And then I was like, all right, cool. And I'll take a trade like this. Okay, you know what? I see it, it's tapped into this low. I'm gonna go here. And then I was like this, and this is like 0.1%. And it was like, oh, 3%, I'm taking that. And then it was like, it came down and it will come down, and I'll be like, okay, it's pushed back up here. And I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna squeeze it in there. And then it was like 6%. And that was the worst thing I could have ever done because it wasn't even like following a proper process or strategy or anything. I was just trying to hammer the trades to make the percentage. And the funny thing is it worked. Which probably isn't always the best thing. Let's see, is this creating a continuation for New York session? Guys, it looks like it is. This looks like the continuation for New York session. Does this look like continuation for New York session? It's stalling. After that push, it's stalling. Usually we'd see like a strong push up. We've got about an hour till New York session. It's 12 o'clock in the UK. In 15 minutes, and then we've got New York session open. So
What do you guys think? Do you guys think we're looking at sells or we're looking at buys? Yeah, okay, you're looking for longs. I didn't even analyze the JP225. Sorry, I analyzed the data from years ago. All right, let's go weekly, daily. Insurance buy, not sell. Okay, yeah. I think the insurance play on the US dollar pairs was a good idea. We've tapped into that low. To be fair, we filled the gap. We've retested it. We've done what we need to down there. We've pushed up now, and that's the continuation that we're in right now. If I just mark that up, borderline as a continuation, I think we're getting something in here. I think we've already got it, Ak. Truly, I think we already got the trade in this area here. I'm just not a fan, man. Personally, man, it's one of those ones where it feels so risky jumping into a trade. I would probably want to go a bit larger, cover the retest of that. But I think as an aggressive play, it's there. Retest the back end of that, and you play long into there. You still could manage that with protection below. I just think 15-minute. If I look at it, that's basically it there on that where we are now. What do you think? What do you think of this trade here? Where you're basically zoomed out, but you're basically broken above this now. You've tested this, you're in momentum, you're in a momentum run, but you're high up in the run now. So it's less reliable, but you've had the squeeze. The horrible thing is that wick there, that's kind of testing that bit to the left. But it's nothing because you're so close to the high. The momentum kicks in New York session and you go. So to mitigate against further developments, you probably have your stop loss further down. I don't know. I think it's not the positioning is not for me. I would like to see, where is it here? I would like to see that flag like here. I mean, see, and then it commits from here, and then we have a room into that. I think something up here it's not wrong, it's just challenging. I'm waiting on a retest of the high, maybe a little too much for an IE. I think it's done enough. I think this is enough, but it's just yeah, it's risk appetite, man. If you're up, considerably up, you can take that, and you can be like, okay, well, we do have what we have. And then that's its own little isolated flag. But the retest, if you're waiting for the retest, protect out there, and you're protected, so you go a bit extra. I think the only difference in risk reward to the high is what, 2.7 and 4 point, yeah, about a difference of what, 2% in terms of having extra protection. So if you wanted to go super aggressive, which I don't really recommend, yeah, you got about 5-1, where if I'm risking 0.25 or test a capital like 0.1 or something, I don't mind taking that as a 5-1 into that to see if it's going to be the trade. But if you want to take it like that, I think for a 0.25% risk for 2.6%, it's not really the 3-1 that you want to look for anyway. So not skilled for that. What do you mean you're not skilled for that? You're the one coming in with these underdog trades every day. Good trades every day. Okay, let's wait and see. The 4 hours looking a little bit more positive than it was before, but nothing's really changed. The hourly is going to really paint the picture here. If we get a strong retrace above these areas, insurance entry up here, great for the long. GU likewise. This has to be a failed continuation. Has to fail.
It's exhausting though. I don't like how price is coming up here. It is showing that we could sell more. You know, you can see it already, creating that sort of flat continuation at the top there with an expanding bottom. So it could be New York sessions sharp sell. If I go to DXY, or 4 hours closing in 9 minutes. 1 hour is closing in 9 minutes too. Let's do a quick scan of the 4 hour candle on a lot of these pairs and have a quick look at the 4 hour. So 4 hour here. Okay, Aussie CAD was brilliant. It's brilliant. The 4 hour candle closes in 2 hours. Oh, what? Closes in 2 hours on Forex pairs, most of them. So what the hell was I looking at for 4 hour close? Sometimes I truly believe that, yeah, okay, DXY closes its 4 hour candle. Wait 1 second. I think it's because of the quotation I have. No, yeah, even the other one closes in an hour. What the hell is going on? Guys, what quotation price do you use for DXY? Do you use TVC for the US dollar index? Because I'm seeing some weird information right now and I'm not back in time. Yeah, it's strange because the 4 hour closes in 8 minutes, but then on Euro USD it closes in 2 hours, so I don't know what to say. Maybe I've got the wrong quotation. I'm just going to go with what the pair is telling me. TVC, yeah, okay. Did you ever notice that their candles close at different times on the 4 hour? This one closed or opened at 2 p.m. and this one opened at 4 p.m. But it's the same borderline. That is a very, very interesting bit of price. They're off by 1 hour. Yeah. So, what about gold? What about gold? Is gold 3 hours? Oh my gosh, they're all different. So gold is different to Euro US dollar by an hour, and Euro US dollar is different to DXY by 2 hours. That's an interesting piece of data actually. I might do some data collection on that and see that if there's a signal from the DXY closing into the 4 hour close for the Euro USD and the 4 hour close for something else. Wait, okay, I'm seeing something interesting here. If the DXY, oh, yeah, it's not what I want to see right now. I want to see Euro US dollar push higher because we can start that weekly move, because this weekly candle hasn't closed. I'm always thinking about where will the weekly candle close? If the weekly candle closes remotely, 50% of the previous candle, at least we're up here. We're up in these areas by the end of the week, so it could consolidate around here for a while. It could even sell off before it gets there, to be fair. But as long as we close above that, we've retraced the majority of the previous weekly candle, and there's a strong sentiment for buyers. So I genuinely think though we can come all the way back up here, and if we come back up there, where is that sitting on the daily? Okay, there's a wick there. There's a bit of a hook point, interesting. And where is that hook point? There it is. Okay, let me mark that hook point up. Wow, that's a beautiful target. I mean, obviously when I say target, I'm not going to be getting out the market if I'm holding along into that. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Wow. Thailand. So where in Thailand do you live, Ak?
You know, one place I've always wanted to go, it's not in Thailand, but I've always wanted to go to Singapore. Singapore looks incredible. Absolutely incredible. We have the 1 hour close at 5 minutes, so you guys should check your charts for your closes, but I'm going to be quickly just checking where Ak is from. Where does Ak Swan live? Imagine this was it, he lives in Phuket. Wow, this looks beautiful, man. Architecture. Oh, you can't see it because it's in a different tab. Look at that. I mean, for most people, it's nothing special. Let's see, wait, 1 second. When is the summer in... Oh man, same summer months as Greece. And to be honest, I would be spending summer in Greece. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. When is... Do you really get a proper winter though? So I don't think so. Oh, you do? You even get snow, maybe. I don't know if that's real. October to February. Yeah, so you guys kind of have the same climate as Greece. So it's not really... let me see. Which country... Okay, so Thailand will be warm, but it won't be cold. Mexico, Cancun, North Africa, Mediterranean, which is weird because I live in Greece, but they're telling me, I mean, it's not cold, so yeah. Abu Dhabi, Dubai, yeah, maybe. Maybe. I never really thought of living in, really actually relocating to Dubai. I know everyone talks about it, but it's one of those. Sick. I love it, love it, love it. Let's have a little look. Oh, yes, we are moving. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we want to see. 1 hour. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that rejection. Beautiful. Failed continuation. On the low. Psychology was fully there. And I'm so proud of myself sometimes when these technicals play out in my favor, but candle's not closed, so I can't count my eggs before they're hatched. Let's wait. Let's have a little wait and see. Do we commit or do we retrace? That's the real question. If we retrace, it's not looking good, Rev. But if we move higher, it's looking great. It's looking absolutely great because there's no reason for it to come back down for a while. And we're in a higher long-term move. Got 2 minutes. 2 minutes to close. All right, let me just check my phone. It's branded in Dubai though. That's a great question. That's a great question. Is Brandon in Dubai? I think a lot of people are in Dubai. I don't know if Brandon's in Dubai, but I've seen him post. If it's the same Brandon I'm thinking about, let me just double check. We got the same ones. Are you talking about Brandon Simon? If it's Brandon Simon, I think he's in. He's not in Dubai.
don't know. Let's see how much percentage we are running. Okay. Yeah, no, I actually don't know if he's in Dubai. I've spoken to him a few times. Let me see, actually. Maybe he mentioned it. Oh, no, wrong Instagram. Brandon Simon. Cape Town. Maybe he's still in Cape Town. But no, I don't think he's in Dubai because he has a you know that thing you have highlights on your Instagram, and he's got one that says Dubai, but that's all from 2023. So I think that's just it, guys. EU just closed. Right, let's have a look at this. 1 hour. Good, but it's there. It could retrace back. Who knows? GU pulled back higher. Nice. New York session literally round the corner. DXY 4 hour closed. Wiki close. What do you guys think? What are you guys thinking about GU, EU? I'm thinking that we're just moving correctively right now, so it's a bit of a trickier one. I think the close on this looks solid though. Look at that 1 hour close. Let me just invert that for the beauty of appreciating EU. Look at that formation. If we retrace on it, that sucks, but if we commit on that, that's beautiful. Let me look at the GU as well. Good signs. Good signs. Definitely going to try catch an entry on this. If you haven't already, definitely try catch an entry on this. Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD, beautiful. Just watching her podcast he had with Mark hitting 6 figures last 2 years. Mark asked for his plan and said the next year he'll be relocating to Dubai. Yeah, but I think maybe. Sometimes you want to go somewhere, but you don't want to tell people. So maybe he moved there and he didn't tell anyone, and just very few, very close circle people. Ooh, let's see, Euro USD. Oh man, put a smile on your face. Let's see, you get insurance entry now. Ooh, into New York session. You're gonna be flying in the money today. Literally flying in the money. Double whisper. Wait, he just posted a story. This is a bit like them stalker girls. He just posted a story 2 hours ago. It says 11:44 in the morning. 2 hours ago, it was, what time was it? What time is it in Dubai? What is the time in Dubai? Let's see, time in Dubai. I'm pretty sure he's in South Africa. Yeah, no, 2 hours ago, it was not 11:44 in the morning. So, yeah, now he's having lunch. It's 4 p.m. in Dubai. So I doubt he's in Dubai. He's definitely not there. 11:44, 2 hours ago. Let me just see. In the UK, it's 12. 2 hours ago, it would have been 11. It wouldn't have been 11:44. So he's 1 hour behind the UK. No, if he posted 2 hours ago and it was 11:44, then he's probably living in South Africa. Yeah, man. Seeing this photo, I don't know if you won't be able to see it. Sitting outside in a t-shirt, I doubt that's in Dubai. What's the time in South Africa? 2:14, 2 hours. Yeah, definitely. He's in South Africa, bro. Makes a lot of sense. Because it even says he lives in Cape Town, which I think is in South Africa. is it South Africa one as well? Cape Town, South Africa, yeah. First thing it says on Google, I wrote Cape Town, South Africa. Look what comes up. Hold on, let me see if I can put it on the screen. Goes, heed of advice of your host, Cape Town Tourism Visitor Centre staff or locals on where after dusk. Avoid walking in deserted and dark places at night. It's the first thing that came up. Can you walk around Cape Town at night? Fucking hell, it's that dangerous. I guess Greece and South Africa is the same time at the moment. Yeah, it is actually. Coincidentally, that's weird. I am running a percent now on EU. I can't show you because I don't log into my trading platform on my PC. But you know what? I'll make a story. So you can see it. Give me a second. Wrong Instagram. Alright, I'm just gonna make a story now. And then I've got Cape Town is a place you shouldn't go to in the night. One second. Let me just put it on my screen here as well. Let me mark it on. I've got the trade in exactly what I took up on there. Right here. Fuck. 7, what's it? Stop loss. Oh, it's 7 pips. I didn't even realise. Anyway. I've even got GU. Have I got GU open? Interesting. One second, let me move GU because I didn't even. What the hell? Oh, I had a order on GU that got tagged. Interesting. I'm not interested in both of these trades, to be fair. This, even looking at GU right now, that is so interesting. Look, GU is right here. So okay. EU is solid. Hey.
I'm gonna look to Michaela to pick up the stuff.
Do you want some help with the car?
No, it's okay.
You're going to bring a backpack?
I don't know.
Hey guys, alright, sweet, sorry about that. You look away for 1 minute. Yeah, so definitely GU could be a pullback there as well. EU manageable to break even though, that's nice. GU, not the biggest fan in the world for GU. Makes me wonder if that's the play. No, I don't have GU open actually, which is good. I had a pending order, I thought it was open, I was like a bit confused. I'm going to move that to break even because, to be honest, that could still pull back on me quite aggressively, considering how GU looks as well. That could be an easy tag in, tag out situation. Yeah, just looking at that and where the DXY is positioned, it's kind of not anywhere significant. But I already took 2 trades this morning, and then we have this. I wouldn't short this though, weirdly enough. even though it has kind of something there. I don't think I would take it short. I think I would wait to see, but I think if there's going to be a heavy sell-off, it'd probably do so from here. What's 1 hour looking like? Okay, yeah, I think that's, like I said, it's probably a part of that play where it just does a bit of a pullback, convinces people to get out of their position if they got in, and it continues. We don't really know at this point because nothing's really closed. EU, yeah, I think EU's position is pretty good for me. I'm liking that a lot. Let me take that little story. Anyway, closed off on my other EU trade. We'll have to wait and see. If EU does follow through, that would be great. 5 minute. I feel like it's just too zoomed in. Also, we've tapped into that bit to the left, so I'm not a huge fan of a sell right there. It's possible, looking at it on the 4 hour as well with the momentum. EU, it's got potential as well. Bigger side, right? Rather go with a high time frame on this one. If it does sell off and takes me for a break even, it is what it is. Oh, let's have a little look here. So, 1 hour's still there. This thing, if we had insurance entry right there, would have been solid. Solid to have an insurance entry, and they would have just confirmed this was the override being played. EU's a lot nicer. DXY is kind of making its own structure. So maybe continuation or a recovery now, because if you go to the 5, basically you had kind of this section here. It's broken the low, comes back up. Just continues. I don't think that's the best play anyway. I don't like that at all. See you later. Yeah, sweet. Man, what are you guys looking at anyway? I'm just going to hold this EU long now. I think this most likely be the last one I'm trying to take today. EJ. Nothing but EJ. NJ was looking nice. There was an NJ long here that I was looking at, which is still looking pretty interesting. Could be tight. Could be tight. Wow. Yeah. Nah, I need to see development, man. I know that these yen pairs can just go and you can get small consolidation, it goes, and so forth. So EJ. You know, the thing about EJ is though, you're going to be waiting till tomorrow because you're going to want to see that 4 hour confirmation. And if the 4 hours confirming, you'd want to see it at least come down here
and then it confirms into London session, that's the trade you're looking for. So when you look at the bottom and you look at the time of day, right now it's Wednesday, New York session, you're not going to take the short right here. If the short comes in, what happens is liquidity's already come into the market, it's already pushed away, so the price is going to be there. If you even try get involved here, you then end up being a part of the volume accumulating for London session, and then provided it does shape up, you then get involved tomorrow at London session. So that's the way I kind of see it with a lot of these yen pairs, especially EJ. You want to kind of be filtering it down to something that is very likely. Oh man, I would have loved to actually have taken GU, but I'm so happy that I'm in EU because EU showing good follow through, but I've got to wait and see, man. Who knows? Who knows? What have I got running? I've got let's hop on a short call. Had to let it out at this point. I think you have an idea of what it is. Wait, let's hop on a call. Had to let it out at this point. I think, yeah, if you want, we can jump on a call. Hold on, let me just see what I've got left in my routines. Sometimes these drag on. What have I got to do today? So I've got my morning forecast, I've done that. Prepared my workspace, done that. Done dog walk. I haven't done my London session review. I'm actually slacking on that. And then I've got a meditation, and I've got New York session. So technically, I've got a fair amount I need to get sorted. Probably, I'll be honest with you, I've got my London session review, which I can probably, no, I'm going to have to spend some time on that because I took a few trades. Meditation 10, so if I say New York session at 3, maybe around about 3, oh sorry, my time 3:20, so in 1 hour from now, yeah, in exactly 1 hour from now, I could jump on a call because I've got to do some routine things and then make sure my flow state is on tip-top condition for this afternoon. What is it, a US mortgage bankers? What's going on here? You know, I was reading this article on the person, you know, the guy who had the big short, who basically predicted the issue with the banks. Hold on, sorry, I was looking at something. Who predicted the mortgage companies defaulting and stuff. Yeah, he thinks that crypto is going to do the same thing. He thinks this whole AI bubble is gonna burst. So he's like heavily shorting Nvidia and things like that, which is quite interesting. Obviously, when he was predicting this, it did take a few months for it to actually kick in, but you know, he was one of the first people to kind of anticipate it being a bubble and blowing up. And he's kind of anticipating something similar happening now with AI, because with Nvidia, they hire most of these crypto companies and AI companies, they're all backed with Nvidia chips. So they're highly Nvidia dependent. And obviously he's probably done his research and figured out a few bunch of things. He's come to the conclusion that, so he's come to the conclusion that there's a high probability that when this bubble bursts, all of these AI crypto companies and stuff are going to burst with it. And then Nvidia's price is going to pretty much drop hard, which might actually mean that some of these other stocks drop and the S&P 500 drops a bit as well. Maybe even we get a bit of a market crash with the dollar, because you know Nvidia is one of the S&P 500s. I think it's the biggest. Is it number one within the S&P 500?
Oh yeah, you've got Nvidia number one, which has 7.7% weight, and then you have Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. So if Nvidia bubble crashes, then a lot of these S&P 500 ones will too. The great thing about it is though, some ETFs they price in everything but Nvidia, so they don't put tech stocks in there. So I mean that's an interesting one too to kind of just know about, but just some information that I thought I'd share with you. Nothing that I've told you is fact as well. It's just something I've read on the internet from articles. So you know, don't take it as I'm gonna go short all the cryptos now. Yeah, gosh, yeah, Aussie CAD, man, beautiful trade. I was looking at it this morning, seeing it play out. Now I'm kind of a little bit on the side, but that's something for me to take as a lesson today as well when I do my London session review. Is you know, sometimes in the moment it might look like it might not look great, but then after further development it's great. Yeah, I think we're good, man. I think today is done. If EU recovers, great. If DXY sells, same situation. GU, I think GU could mess about whilst these pairs do something. Maybe this consolidates. It's possible it consolidates in this period here whilst GU sells off, and then we see like AU, GU and so forth. What NU? Oh man, look at NU. Flipping out. I had the NU long as well and I took a loss and manual close, but yeah, thought process was there. It's just yeah, it was one of those. Five pip stop loss as well, which seems a bit crazy, but it's what it was. Could get away with it. But yeah, that was basically. Just looking at that with 3-1 on that. Yeah, I think we're coming into that period of time now where we need to be so sharp because there's going to be that impulsive stage in the market coming. Oh, BTC is still here. Yeah, I would just kind of probably wait for this, see if we sell, and then you can play this last move into the downside. And then if we can tap into that, I don't think we have to, but if we do, it's even better because it just feels incomplete. And then when it does that, you know, you probably just get your run to the upside. And that's basically what you're trying to play. You're trying to play, this has done what it needs to do, it's then recovered, it's given you a flag here, another continuation, let's go. So saying that, a lot of money is going to be moved around. A lot of money will be moved around. There'll be a lot of news coming out on BTC. So when BTC comes down or up here, you'll probably see, oh, BTC back at 109K and then just plummets back to 97, 96. And like, is this the end of the stock market? And then what happens is you go for the buy. So I'm not looking to touch anything on BTC until we have really broken that low. You know, even if we break it like this and come back up, that's even better, man. You know, even if we break it and go to that next point, I'm still looking for longs. I'm not going to just pivot and go for shorts. I don't think it's going to come for this one. I think we are in line for this one, but hey ho, let's have a little look and see what happens. At the end of the day, that's where the value really is, between 93 and 98. That's all buying territory. So you're getting in at a bargain price, but I'm not trying to buy it. I'm not trying to catch a falling knife. I'm waiting for it to bounce back up and then start giving them continuation to move higher, and that's where I'd be looking to get involved because I'm not holding it long term. All right, sweet guys, I'm gonna head off. I'm gonna crack on with some routines and that. It was a pretty good day, to be fair. I don't think I'm up much right now. I'm in EU long. It's the only trade I've got open. I had Aussie 200, which I would like to see how it's developing now. Yeah, I had Aussie 200, still waiting. I don't think I'm looking for anything now. Maybe New York session is up here, and I'm still not bothered. I would look, maybe actually, I say that, but maybe New York session, I will put this on watch with an insurance entry. But the likelihood is I've got EU now, and if EU doesn't commit, I might just go off and enjoy my day, maybe go get a burger, some fries, jump on a call with Zeph, and call it a day. So I will catch you guys later. And yeah, if you guys take any trades or anything, drop me a message on Instagram. I'd like to see what trades you guys got into. And yeah, we'll catch